Alright, response video 2. Oh, stupid Andy. Yeah, stupid Andy. And the Kandavan. So I'll just play the end of this and we'll get the theme rolling along.
You know, scaring people into, say, or rather frightening people with, see how shaky your thinking is? I'm making the universe dissolve before your eyes. I'm not trying to do that at all. What I'm trying to do is just see axioms for what they are.
Okay, so he's arguing that there's these premises, he calls them the axioms, it doesn't really matter, but these ideas, these themes that guideposts, whatever you want to call them, things, priorities, prime directives, established ways of life, ways of perception, points of view, attitudes. So you can be pessimistic, you can be paranoid, you can be risk averse, you can be lots of dispositional, attitudinal approaches to life, and you can call that axioms, whatever. And he is claiming, that somehow you can live without those, and you can't do that. So it's really, he's just in this backward way saying my axioms are correct and your axioms are wrong. I won't prove mine, I won't establish mine, I'll just say that you have axioms, axioms are bad. And he's not admitting the obvious, which is he has axioms, he has premises, and he lives by them. And that's the bullshit here. Huge, 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 huge duplicity, dishonesty, manipulation, and distortion. He's basically pointing his finger at somebody masturbating and saying, you're just masturbating. That's all he's really doing, even when he's doing it with a woman. Yeah.
And use them for what they're useful for. Axioms are extremely useful tools.
So again, this whole idea again that somehow the guideposts are just there to be humped, or you piss on it, but you don't take it seriously like it's a guidepost. No, you don't be directed by it. You pick up the post and whap your enemy with it, or some kind of thing. It's this idea. Brains are incredibly useful as what? Banana peels? I mean, you pull your brain out and put it on the sidewalk, and Adolf Hitler slips on it and falls down, and there you four have outsmarted him because you made him fall down by slipping on your brain. Come on. This is just babble.
They're useful servants. They are to be put to use for our purposes.
Right, so he's saying that our purposes, whatever that is somehow smarter than our understanding. So we are to use our understanding to serve a purpose not derived through understanding. Get it? So whatever you feel like doing, whatever you desire, is legitimate stuff. That's supposed to be listened to, okay, intensely. And you are to use your mind not to contextualize that rubbish and nonsense, your desire to steal the candy from the baby. No, you're just supposed to use your intelligence to engineer the solution to the candy theft. That's what intelligent people are supposed to do with their intelligence, is allow their intelligence to be a slave to their desire. He's saying it as plainly as you can say it.
But we can't allow ourselves to be ruled by them.
Again, ruled by them, ruled by your understanding, ruled by your higher order functions, your higher brain functions. Do not be ruled by those. Those are bad, because the other things that would rule in their stead are somehow better. But he doesn't point out that the other he's talking about are the twitches in your fucking anus. The silliest, stupidest, dumbest animal reflexes by which you function. Those you're supposed to put on the guidepost.
Have to revisit our axioms, or else we are beholden to our own creations.
Well, our own creations, as opposed to what? Biological creations? Paramecium? What would the DNA say? again? We're supposed to revert to dumb animals. We have intelligence, and now we're not supposed to be caught up in this smart thing. Don't get confused by trying to be smart. Just be the dumb animal you're meant to be. No, thank you, sir.
And that's crazy. That's the old story of Frankenstein.
As opposed to what? Again, he keeps talking as if there is some alternative to the monster you create, or what? There's something going to be in control. You can't just say, go with the default, because the default is itself a creation. And it's a creation far more hideous than your good judgment, your best judgment, your best effort at rationally understanding is going to be a better monster than the frickin' default of your stomach or your penis.
You create, or the child who accidentally summons a demon or a genie. What if the genie disobeys you?
Well, what if that is a completely useless metaphor, because that doesn't happen in any reality at all?
Well, that's the trap of depressive realism, and I have argued this way before with...
Right, and you keep evading your responsibility to put up your counter guidepost, your counter monster. Let's see this monster we're supposed to trust. Please, let's see the genie, okay? Let's see what there is besides what you conjure.
Different ideas. Just ideas that I find particularly, I won't say dangerous, but particularly problematic.
Right, as opposed to the themes that have driven the human race for thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of years. Those aren't problematic. The brutality and violence, greed, selfishness, animalistic, crude carnage, that's not problematic. Oh, I think it is.
Some people. In the case of depressive realism, I think that, as I say, depression is something that people stumble across by accident. And a lot of the arguments...
Yeah, well, these are all your pontifications. They, supported by what? I think. Oh, thank you very much.
Arguments that they use for defending their depressive position.
Yeah, and the idiotic, inane, empty, vacant arguments you use to defend some sort of magical default solution. Listen to your inner leprechaun. That's all you're saying. Go find the nearest boogeyman and run from him. What?
To be found in depressive realist thinking, where I find it, I guess I could use sort of guardedly the word dangerous, is the fact that promoting the idea...
I mean, it's kind of hilarious, right, in the context of what human beings have done over time, to talk about dangerous, guilty people, people with some sense of guilt. Oh yeah, how frightening, right? He's made videos mongering on the horror of the guilt mongerers, like they're the blight of society, the people who establish some sense of responsibility. Oh, run from the responsibility imposers. Horror, horror. I mean, it's just, this is tragically and horrifically imbecilic.
Of depressive realism is not the same thing as finding it convincing.
Right, and like I said, I'm supposed to find what? Your argument from what? The DNA does it right? DNA knows best? Convincing? Convincing is what? Cowardice? Yeah, okay. Gutless? Pussy bullshit? I'm going to resort to the convenient. Oh, isn't that not charming?
And promoting it is what forces me to back up and to go after the axioms.
Yeah, and again, go after them with this empty sleeve thingy pointing. You're doing this finger pointing, and you have an empty. There's nothing. You don't have a counter proposal, a counter suggestion. What you're offering is empty, nothing, vacant, childish and immature. Be a dumb animal. That's not a solution. Fuckhead.
Axioms, again, are servants.
That's just idiotic. Okay, so here's, I'll do a metaphor. I had the thought of a pinball machine. So here you are in life. You just arrive. Okay, so you just show up, and what's put before you is a machine, a device, and it's got blinky lights. It's got stuff going on, and what happens is you pull this levery thing, bouncy, bouncy ball. And if you just flip the flippery thing, when the ball comes near the flipper and flip something, a little candy bar will pop out. So you get a candy bar for that. But if you don't do anything, if you don't play, all right, then you get, let's say, an electric shock comes through the floor. So you get punished if you do nothing, and you get this candy bar reward if you do something. Okay, if you play the game minimally. You know, the ball hits the flipper, you flip back. That's it. Nothing else going on here. Okay, so you're here, and this is what you're playing. This is the game you're playing. And then you notice that the game has a texture to it. Like there's images of other people and animals and the future and pollution and nuclear meltdown and lack of health care and homeless people, exploited workers. There's all kinds of things, and you can see now all of a sudden these things are real. These things represent real outcomes. And so now when you're just flipping this ball, all of a sudden you realize, oh, when I'm flipping the ball, things are happening in the world. And you know, there's going to be somebody who's going to, you know, be poisoned and get cancer. This is going to happen. Somebody's going to be compromised here. A drunk driver's going to do this. This is going to happen over there. So now there's consequences when you do this flippery thing. It's just not you just don't flip any old way. And you see now there's a certain logic here. And so you apply your intelligence and you say, well, you know, there's ways to play this game. And then there's this magic little place you can play to, right? There's a place where if you hit the ball just right off your flipper, you know, it can't bounce there just accidentally. The only way it can get there is you got to flip it there. Game over. Game ends. Okay? And the whole stupid, preposterous thing goes nowhere, and you go back to where you were, and you just don't play the stupid game anymore. So that's one of the options we have. There's other options in terms of managing things. But the idea is to do that, you have to understand the game. You do have to accept, okay, it's evolution, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. Certain things you got to accept. And then there's this thing, when the ball comes, you can trap it. You can hold your flipper up just right, and when the ball comes in, you trap it, it bounces in there, and then you catch the ball, essentially. And now you can let it roll down your flipper, and then you can shoot it, and you can hit certain targets. And so you can do certain specific things on purpose, deliberately. In terms of trying to control the gameplay and trying to open the gate to the, you know, release them all. Let's be freed of the gameplay, kind of thing. So you can come up with a more elaborate metaphor, but the idea is you can play this game with your intelligence, or you can play it as an idiot, and it matters which one you choose. It's not irrelevant. It's incredibly relevant. There'll be an incredibly rich and intense result, byproduct of how you play this game. And that will be done by your axioms, by your understanding, by your knowledge of your responsibility, of the fact that this game is tied directly to a lot of other games being played. And you're making other games playable by your behavior or unplayable by your behavior. You're giving the future a chance, or you're closing all the good doors in their gameplay. That's the reality here. And and the only way to play the game well is to play the game smart. And this guy's preaching, be an idiot. Turn off your brain. Don't think too much. He's not making a rational argument for how the axiom of evolution is wrong, how the axiom of consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, addiction is wrong, how the axiom of 4 billion years of gladiator war to produce some sort of hideous monster of a combatant, that will do anything to get its goodies, how that system has any integrity or value as a designer of something called a good life form. We see what it's created, and we see what the rational, perceptual, thoughtful humans have created. Thoughtful humans who talk about responsibility, who talk about how you make a mess and how you clean up a mess, how you solve a problem and how you band-aid a problem. And he's going to keep saying, just go with the dumbasses. Follow the dumbass. And glorify that and sanctify that default as somehow brilliant. Just fucking flip the ball. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. Don't contemplate it. Don't engineer it. Why? Because he doesn't want to. He just wants his candy bars. And the only way he gets what he wants is if you remain an idiot. Or play like an idiot. Yeah. So I should put that somewhere in the metaphor that these idiots, can't live in their idiocracy if you clean it up. If you make it a good game. Because they only know how to play a bad game. Something like that. Anyway, just disgusting. Really, fuck you for this bullshit of a straw man attack video. I mean, it really is just disgusting. I'm going to argue that your axioms are wrong while I declare mine right based on I won't even show you mine, and on top of that, I'll give no indication of why they have any better authority whatsoever. None whatsoever. I mean, just bogus as bogus could be. Anyway. Fuck you, as the axiom goes.